So my childhood was an interesting one, I would say by most standards, but it's also a really American story. My Indian immigrant father and my Jewish American mother ran an Irish pub in Los Angeles, and I grew up just pitching in the family business, and it was a great way to grow up in a multicultural, multi-denominational, multi-everything environment. You know, at the time when I was thinking about where to go to college, I really wanted something different than Los Angeles. What I didn't find elsewhere that I found in Vermont was not just the sense of place that I had been looking for, but the sense of community. When Bernie Sanders was running for the first time for the US Senate, they needed a young woman to introduce this star-studded event that they were having. They had the mayor of Burlington and then candidate for Congress Peter Welch and Bernie Sanders, and they had this rock star senator from Illinois. All I knew was that he was a really amazing speaker, and I better bring my A game to this event. So I was asked to kick things off and talk about why it's so important for young people to be involved in politics. It went well enough that I didn't fall off stage and I could sit back down. And on down the line it went until this rock star senator from Illinois got up to speak. And then he started to talk about having a father from Kenya and a mother from Kansas. And I thought, I have a father from India and a mother from Illinois. I have not heard this story in American politics. And in the middle of all of that, I'm enraptured. And he turns to Bernie and he says, you know what, Bernie? And if you don't behave yourself, we might run Kesha for the Senate instead of you. It was the first time anyone had encouraged me to run for office, and it just so happened that we both shared a ballot 2 years later. I became one of the youngest legislators in the country, and he became the 44th president of the United States. I won by the largest margin of any challenger in the state that year. It was a really good feeling at 22 to be so resoundingly supported by my neighbors. People like Governor Madeline Kunin making me feel like I could be a Vermonter, giving me the legitimacy to say, you belong here and we want you here and we want you to serve. I served 4 terms, 8 years in the legislature, pretty much my entire 20s. I really fought my way into having a voice in a lot of powerful spaces, and I really thought of Shirley Chisholm saying, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Vermont is like this cozy, warm little house with a fire going and a tea kettle on, and people are happy and loving each other. And then there's some folks out in the cold looking through the window and seeing that incredible community and how much people take care of each other and feeling like they're left behind and they're, for some reason, not allowed in. And my driving force in politics has always been to open the door. It was really important for me to take a break after 8 years in the state legislature and kind of making excuses for what happens in Montpelier or doesn't happen. You know, change is slow and that will always be true, but the work is far too urgent now for it to keep moving at the same snail's pace. With what's going on in the country right now, it's more important than ever that people feel reflected and heard in who's in government. I don't think there's anyone else in this race or many other people running for office this year in Vermont who can say they spent their entire 20s in the legislature, that they have 8 years of experience, but that they took a break, they got new ideas, and they're coming to the table invigorated and ready to innovate and figure out what the future of Vermont is going to look like. We have an incredible opportunity to shape that future, to make it better than when we got into this pandemic, to make it better than what we're seeing in the country right now with people having to take to the streets just to feel heard. We have the opportunity to truly move Vermont forward, and I'm ready to do that work with Vermonters.